Welcome back into another unboxing video. This video is the Thormun's Thunder release, which is from May 2026. I have the whole wave right here, one of everything in this box, or should be. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. This box is a lot taller than some of the others, so it's going to be a little bit harder to show on camera, but we'll do our best here. A lot of packing materials as normal. Let's see what the first box we pull out of here is. This is the Skordyre Infantry and their common heroes. So this is one of the new common squads with some of their bonding heroes. Common squad of 3 with 3 different common heroes. So let's pop this guy open and take a look at what these minis look like. Alrighty. Yep, 6 minis in the box right here. Cards, of course. That's it for the box. Oops, one of these guys fell out. Pretty cool looking, honestly. I like these minis a lot. Let's see, for the one that just fell out here is one of the heroes. So we've got 3 common heroes. I actually don't know which one is which by image only, so we're gonna take a look. This one is the Spitting Hive Soldier. I'm gonna have to pull up the cards here in order to know which one is which of the others. Actually, well, the one with the big sack is probably the bursting sack. But let's just pull the cards out and be sure. Yep, so the one that, this first one here was the Spitting Hive Soldier. Next up we have the Bursting Hive Soldier. The last one is the Lurking Hive Soldier. And then we have the Skordyre Infantry themselves, which is the common squad that is the sort of engine that makes all of this run, if you will. We have 3 members of that squad. Let me go ahead and get these in a way that I can show you. And then, of course, their army card. So that's what's in this one. Pretty cool stuff. These guys bond with other Skordyres, so they're going to also bond with Maladrix and the Bug Ball. That's the Phalanx and the Legion. So just some cool stuff there. They work pretty well with a lot of different configurations. So you could run, a couple copies of the infantry with some number of the common heroes, or maybe one of the unique heroes. Just a lot of configurations, so pretty cool new faction to be expanding in this release. Pop this guy out of the way. And let's see what box we get next. Alright, these are the Revenants of Revna and Nuckelavee expansion. So this is another common squad. There's a fair number of common squads in this particular release. The Revenants of Revna are a... Whoops. Well, here they go. Just flying right out of that box. So we'll start with them, since they decided to join us first. These are the Revenants of Revna. This is the common squad. And first impression on these minis is that they're quite large, actually. Yeah, they're a lot bigger than some of the Kairi we got from the last wave of Renegade. I can show you with one of the sort of... Let's put one of these guys next to one of the Skordyre infantry for a little bit of a comparison there. Pretty cool looking minis. So they've got like different, each one is from a different existing Kairi squad, if you will. This one seems to be based on the Sentinels of Jandar. This one is seemingly from the Einar Imperium. And then this last guy is seemingly from the Minions of Utgir. So that's the like lore or whatnot that is the minis are based on, presumably. That one doesn't like to stand up. There we go. This one is a little bit off kilter. Balance-wise, I will say. The other 2 are pretty good about that, but he's a little bit off-kilter balance-wise. He's like leaning forward a bit on his base. So he's a little bit less sturdy than the other 2 are, it would seem. Alright, in terms of the cards for these guys, this is the card for the Revenants of Revna. That's the common squad right there. And then the other figure that these come with is one of the figures that bonds with them, one of the new figures that bonds with them, Nuckelavee. Nuckelavee? I have no idea how to pronounce that, but that's his card. And his mini here, he's very demonic looking. He's on a double hex. He's got this like weird long arms, and he's riding this pretty freaky thing, honestly. So that's him. And yeah, he's one of the figures that bonds with them. He is a common hero, so you can run a couple of them with the Revenants of Revna. I do like the decision to pair the common heroes with the common squads in these packs, just because you're able to get a couple copies of each. Like, if you bought 3 of these packs, you could have 3 copies of Revenants of Revna and 3 Nuckellavees. You probably don't want more than 2, I would guess, so maybe that third one becomes unnecessary, but it's at least not a unique hero that you're getting like truly useless duplicates of if you buy copies of the commons, so that is a nice improvement. Kind of similar with the Skordyre infantry. It's nice to get the common heroes coming in the box with the common squad. Again, the ratios are going to be a little bit off, so it's not a perfect solution necessarily. Like, you probably want to get up towards like 6 Skordyre infantry if you want to run it at like any type of a tournament competitive scene, army-wise. And you're definitely not going to need 6x of each of the heroes. So I think like in an ideal world, a slightly better packing would have been 2 copies of the Skordyre infantry with 1 copy of each of the common heroes. It's better than we were getting, but I do think there's still a little bit of room for improvement on how the packaging is done to make acquiring sort of an optimal army for less price work out better for us as the consumers. Moving on to the next box, and they are down there pretty far. You have to stand up here to pull one out. That is a big box. Wowzers, this is the terrain expansion, and holy crap, this is a big box. Yeah, I don't even think that one's going to show on the close-up cam. Wow. So this is the Shores of Valhalla. So we've got a pirate ship and some cannons. Pretty cool looking. I don't think this is going to really make its way onto tournament competitive maps per se, but Thrakus on a ship does look pretty dope. I gotta give it that. Let's pop this out, and I'll try to show you close-ups of some of the individual terrain pieces inside of this guy. If I can find where this box opens. There we go, this side. Cool. So we have... Actually, I didn't know this came with new tiles. I have no idea if this terrain even has any kind of rules attached to it. Honestly, I know very little about the new terrain expansions until they come out. I haven't paid as much attention to them. Let's start with the highlight piece, the ship itself. So this is the ship with old Thrakus head on it. Pretty cool looking. The underside of it is quite relevant as well for how it fits on a map. So you can see we have the ability to like attach it to some hexes there. It's pretty cool looking. We also have these sides of the ship. So I'm guessing these attach to it as well. You can sort of see that from the base and the underside. I would presume that these guys sort of lock into the side of this somehow or other. Maybe not. Maybe I presume too much. Yeah, I presume too much. So I guess you could put... Yeah, so they don't necessarily lock in, but I guess you just set them next to each other. So you could put these guys like next to each other on a map like this, I would imagine. Although, okay, that's not actually ideal. This guy's a pretty top-heavy to the outside. So like if I just let him go, he's going to fall down. So he's going to have to be locked into something in order to stand up at all. I wonder if the other side... Yeah, that's true for both sides. That's a little bit unfortunate, just the weighting of these guys. So they're not going to stand up terribly well on or at all on their own. They're just going to fall over. So if you want to do anything with these guys, you're going to have to lock them in really well with other terrain on the map. I'll have to leave those guys sitting down for now. We then have these ladders, which are also pretty cool looking. I have no idea if they have any functional utility or not, but they look pretty good. Probably most of you watching this have a better idea of what these actual terrain rules are than I do, but the minis look cool, which is where I'm at for now. Except for the fact that, you know, some of them don't stand up. Here we go with the cannons. So there are 3 of these little cannons, and I do have some brief knowledge of these guys. I believe that they have a special attack that anyone who's standing next to them can use, and that line of sight comes off of the end of the cannon. Could be wrong about that. That was my understanding from reading something a while back. Anyhow, there are 3 of these cannons in the set. And then we have some number of these 2 hexers. Let's see, 6 there, and then probably 6 more here. Yep, so we have 12 2-hexers of whatever this new terrain is that I honestly don't know. And I'm going to check that, because that seems important information to pass along. Okay, ship pieces, building with ship pieces. All attachment points on the lower level of ship pieces must be connected to terrain tiles. Movement and adjacency, ship pieces are 9 height tall from the outside, 8 height tall from the inside, while on the lower level. 2 height tall from the inside, while on the upper level. Wood tiles. Okay, so these are called wood tiles. These are wood tiles. A scenario will specify whether wood tiles are decking or road. Okay, so they have no... That means nothing. These have no value coming out of the box. Like, this doesn't have any innate built-in terrain effect. It's just meant to look cool. presumably, a map can specify whatever it wants. Sort of like heavy snow, where the snow by default is not going to do anything, but like if you want, you can say, hey, this snow is heavy snow, and now it takes extra movement to move along it. The rope ladders do appear to actually have something on it, rules-wise. So let's see. When moving up or down, small and medium figures may count a rope ladder as one space of elevation. Okay, that's pretty cool for them. So, like, that's actually quite a bit of elevation gain to make for one movement per rope ladder. Okay, so that's going to help move small and mediums up and around this thing a lot. Again, I don't think you're going to see this guy really on any kind of competitive maps. If you do, you probably have to have 2 of them on the map just to try to offset these massive line of sight blockers in some capacity. I'd be pretty shocked if competitive tournament maps ever use these cannons. Adding terrain with a special attack on its own seems kind of wild for competitive balance, so I wouldn't expect to see it in that regard, but visually they do look cool, again, other than the fact that these things don't stand up on their own, which seems like a bit of a miss. Alright, let's put this box away and see what else is in there. I know there's at least 2 more figure expansions in this wave that we haven't gotten to yet. 1 more common squad, and then a unique something or other that's not fitting very well, so I'm going to deal with that later. Next box we have up is Necrotech Reavers. Upgraded Necrotech Reavers, pardon me. Now, my understanding is that this box has a unit where you can change out the arms to make it go from a member of the common squad to any of the 3 common heroes that come with cards in the pack. That's going to be quite different than anything we've really ever had in Heroscape before. Yep. So in this box, we have 6 members of I'm going to call them all squad members for now. And then we have all these various arm attachments. And you can use different arm attachments to make them either members of the common squad or one of the 3 common heroes that comes with it. My understanding, at least. And, yep, that appears to be the case. So we have lots of different arm attachments. So let's take a look at what each of these arm attachments correspond to on the card, because I am not the most familiar with these guys. I played 1 game online with them, and I wasn't the one piloting their army. Let's start with the Necrotech Reavers. Okay, so the Reavers card here shows them without having their right arm on the physical mini. So out of the box without that arm attachment then, that means that they're going to be the Reavers. So we have this guy, and this guy, and this guy. Those 3 guys. Now we have 3 different arm attachments, and then each one of those arm attachments is going to make them a specific common hero. So let's see. We've got the Necrotech Geistfire. This is the one with a ranged attack, and he has the gun arm. That makes a lot of sense. Whoops, where'd it go? So let's go ahead and pop that on just to see how it looks. Okay, this is a square peg of sorts. There's only one way to actually put this on. I think that's a good thing. It's not like a 360 swivel. Once it's in there, it seems like it's just going to lock in place in one direction, if I can get it in there. There we go. Okay. That was a little bit hard to put in, to be honest. I wonder how easy it is to take out. I want to show you a close-up of it before I take it out. But the arm doesn't rotate in place, which is a good thing for line of sight. You don't have the ability to, like, hey, pivot his arm to avoid being seen by one direction. It came out easier than it went in, honestly. We're going to leave this arm there for now and then take a look at the other 2, though. Next up, we have the Ghoul Grip. So this one is a Major X-17 or Gladiatron-like thing where he grabs a hold of you. And for that one, we have this arm of sorts. And it's going to attach in the same way. Yep, so it's also got some kind of little peg. I wonder if I'm putting this in. Okay, that one went in slightly easier than before. Maybe the first time you put the attachments on, it's like a little bit tight, and then the plastic warms up a little bit, but that's what this guy looks like. Let's go ahead and take his arm out. And then move on to the last one, the Gas Blade. This guy has a special attack. If he uses that special attack, he has to attack everything next to him, enemy or friendly or your own, whatnot. So, pretty powerful if you can get him in a really good spot to do that whirlwind attack with. Also, all of the heroes from this one all have 2 life on the cards, so that's relevant to keep in mind. The common heroes from the Skordyres only have 1 life, and the common heroes from the Necrotechs have 2 life. And then his attachment is going to be this little blade for a gas blade, of course. see if I can attach this guy in. I think that's the direction. Yep. Okay, yeah, and the third one, this one went in even easier than the two before. So it's possible that it's just getting that very first attachment into the unit that's a little bit of a pain. But yeah, that's where it's at. And that's the mini. The idea behind these guys is that before a tournament starts, you set your army with however many of the common squad or the various common heroes, and then at that point in time, you put these attachments on the dudes, and then you leave them there for the entirety of that tournament because your army's staying the same. It's not like one round you're going to have more gas blades, and the next round you say, oh, well, actually, this game, I want to have more ghoul grips. No, you're going to set that at the beginning, set up all of your arm attachments, and then be good to go. This is a really cool idea. I'm curious to see how people respond to it in Heroscape because it is so different, but the idea of being able to have more flexibility while buying less packs of the common squad is definitely an appealing one for me from just like a pocketbook perspective, right? If you buy 3 packs of this squad, you have potentially 6 copies of the common squad, or 5 copies of the common squad with 3 copies of the common heroes, or 4 copies of the common squad with 6 of the common heroes of whatever configurations you want to run. So there's a lot of possibility there while being able to get a lot of basically customization in which configuration of the army you decide to run by being able to buy less copies of the pack. So I do think that's a nice thing. Let me go ahead and get all these guys out of the box. Probably not the attachments. Not losing the attachments is going to be a genuine thing. These guys are pretty small, honestly. So keep that in mind. Maybe you want to leave the attachments on the minis in your collection, wherever you store it. Maybe you don't. It could be worth it to just put all these attachments in some kind of little Ziploc bag that goes in with your figures, just to try to not lose these things, because that would be quite unfortunate if you were to lose them. I will say, you probably get more of them than you need, because every copy of this pack you buy comes with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of these attachments, 3 for each of the heroes. You're probably never going to need that many. If you buy 3 copies of this pack, you're going to be able to run 9 of each hero. You're never going to be doing that. So realistically, you probably get more than you need, which is a good thing. Not going to complain about that. But still, try not to lose them. So little tiny pieces. One of the smallest pieces we've ever had that's actually part of a figure in Heroscape. Cool. Alrighty. Now, there's one more figure pack in here, and then also the promo figure. The figure pack we got up here next, and this is a big box. This is Thormun and The Kraken. So, Thormun is a unique hero, a Valkyrie. That's kind of weird that we actually have one of those on a card, and it's not one of the originals, but Thormun is a Valkyrie. If you're familiar with the lore of Heroscape, he wrote the journal thing from back in the day with OG Hasbro releases. That was part of their lore collection at the time. Cool. A pretty big box. Let's go ahead and set this guy aside for here. And then, wow, those are some large minis. Holy moly. All right, let's. There's a little plastic lid thing here that's holding everything in place that you have to peel off. Actually, cut off. It's attached with tape. A little bit different than how they packaged some of the other stuff that we've been getting. Very securely packaged, I'll give it that. These things weren't going nowhere in that box until you cut that tape. Cool, we got it out though. So this is just a little lid guy to it. And let's start off with the namesake of the whole wave, Thormun. Pretty cool looking mini, honestly. I like the way the mini is designed. He kind of looks like Odin. He's got this weird eye patch thing going on. He's like this old Allfather looking thing. He's got a hammer in one hand and a gun in the other. I'm not sure really why this all-knowing Valkyrie needs a one-shot pistol in his right hand, but he's a pirate. Maybe he just likes the aesthetic. So we've got him. In terms of the cards for these guys, he is basically an order marker hub for an all-unique hero army type setup. I don't think he's actually very good from a competitive perspective, but he is what he is. He's there. So this is Thormun. Wait a minute. What? I have 2 copies of the card in here, and I'm so confused. Pirate King empowered with boss on it? What is going on? I have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at. Okay, this is the normal card. We have a normal basic side here, and then a normal side on that guy. We also have this other copy of the card where his point total is boss. Double not basic game. On one side he's Thormun empowered, on the other side he's Thormun Pirate King. I honestly have no idea what's going on with that. I assume there's some kind of rules in here that are going to specify something. I think in practice you probably just ignore that second card, but I have absolutely no idea what the point of it is. Yeah, so there's some additional, like, Thormun's journal entry thing going on in this guy. I guess that this is all some weird scenario that they put together, but I don't know. That's not the point of this. So we're going to move on from whatever confusingness that is, and I will learn later. Okay, and then we've got the Kraken. This is the Kraken's card, much more normal-looking card. And for the Kraken, we have all of these guys. So the Kraken is weird. He doesn't start the game on the battlefield. You have to summon one tentacle at a time, and then it is a 5-member squad if they all can get summoned out there before the first one dies. But these things are massive, like, absolutely massive. Let's put one of these guys next to a Skordyre Soldier on the close-up. Like, that's insane. So these things are absolutely huge. It might be so huge that it's tough to fit them on a map, honestly. It's clearly thematically designed to, like, kind of work with the whole shipwreck thing. I'm sure that's why they all came out in this one set. Like, for this guy, the Kraken tentacle is holding on to the mast of the ship, if you will. So there's some thematicness going on there. And they've got these portal thingies on here, as they have a warp space power, so they have these, like, portal-looking things that I guess these tentacles can just hop around the map on. But massive, massive mini here. I am very curious to find what the best army for Kraken actually ends up being, because it's a really cool versatile piece where once per round, instead of taking a turn with a hero, you can take a turn with the Kraken instead. And if you've got all of them on the map, you could potentially get 5 attacks of 3 on that one turn, which is quite good. So curious to see how people actually try to use the Kraken in a real army. You also get these markers for Thormun. They're useful because the way his power works is you can't take 2 order marker turns with 2 figures from the same general. So if you took a Savaris turn, you can't then take a Solon turn on the next order marker. So you put these markers on whatever you took a turn with to denote that as you go. We have one last pack in here, and then we'll get out of here. And this pack is the promo for this wave. Agent Carr 2.0, who is writing Doomed. Thematically kind of cool. Powers-wise, less so. I think this hero is going to be pretty bad and probably never really see the light of day in a tournament scene. But that's okay. He's going to look really cool. So we're going to get him out of here eventually and see what Carr on Doomed looks like. Whoops, he fell out as well. Alrighty, we have Carr riding Doomed right there. Power set wise, Carr has most of the same powers as before. He also gets a different version of Crippling Glance or Crippling Gaze. One of those was the original, and one of those is the new one. I'll take a look here shortly to determine which was which. Basically, though, the new one only lets you move 1 order marker as opposed to wiping the whole round, which I do think is a better design choice because it's much less game bending whether it works or not. Let's see here. So we've got Carr's card right here. The new power is Crippling Glance, so the old one was Crippling Gaze then. 15 or higher. The problem with this guy as an actual unit is he's a single attacking, non-bonding hero for 130 points, with his range attack only being an attack of 2. Yes, his melee attack is 6, but it's just not enough activations to do anything. So in reality, he's just not that great of an actual figure in the game. But Carr on Doomed is pretty cool looking, gotta say. And that is everything that was in this box. So that's everything that we got out of the Thormun's Thunder Wave from Renegade Game Studios of the May 2026 release of Heroscape. Some pretty cool stuff. The Krakens are absolutely massive. That's my biggest takeaway from looking at the minis here. That, and then the shipwreck itself being, pretty cool looking, but this not standing up is kind of a bummer, gotta say. That's probably the thing I would be most disappointed about from what I've seen so far out of these unboxings. But, I mean, beyond that, the shipwreck stuff does look pretty cool. I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy using the shipwreck stuff at home in, like, however you want to play at home. Potentially some multiplayer games where, like, you all want to try to fight over the use of these cannons. There's some cool ways to set that up, but those don't necessarily work as much in a tournament setting, so I think it's going to be more reserved for sort of that side of how people play the game. Which is fine. Nothing against that. Just, keep that in mind if you're going to be buying the pack. That it's probably not something that you're going to be building a ton of tournament maps with necessarily. And yeah, that's what we've got. So we have 3 new common squads from this release. They all came with at least 1 common hero that bonds with them. And then we also have a pack of uniques, Thormun and The Kraken, the promo, Carr, and then the shipwreck pack for the Waters of Valhalla, or whatever that was called. Shores of Valhalla. That's the one. So that's what we got here today. Pretty cool stuff. Looking forward to it. If you ordered any of these yourself, I hope that you enjoy using them and that they make a great addition to your Heroscape collection. Until next time, I will catch y'all later at the next unboxing. Enjoy!